I want to show you some new functionality that comes with GP 2013 R2, and that has to do with the purchase requisition. There's a new purchase requisition functionality that allows you to create purchase requisitions and then assign that to an approval process and then turn that into a PO. I'm going to further take that PO, I'm going to receive it, and then turn that into a fixed asset and then show the depreciation on that. So let's get started. To start out, we'll go to the purchase requisition entry form and put in our requisition. So I'm going to order a laptop. And I want to ship it to my address here. And I'll put some more information in. I also happen to have an image of this laptop, so I'm going to attach that here. So here's my image attached. We can take a look at that. And this will follow the requisition through the approval process. So let's get back to the requisition. And OK there. We're back at the requisition here, and let's submit it. Let's take a look at the workflow maintenance. There's a new workflow engine in GP 2013, and we'll take a quick look at it here. There's one that's set up for the purchase requisition approval process. You can create your own. You can actually get pretty complicated here. I created a simple one, and it just has 2 levels, and the requisition would go through that process and then be approved. But I'm going to skip that for now, and I'm going to go right back to that requisition, and I'm going to turn that into a PO. So let's go back to the requisition. And before I turn it into a PO, I need to add some additional information. First of all, I'm going to put a quantity in there, and I know the price, so I'm going to put that in there as well. And I could add some additional information if I wanted to. I definitely want to put the site ID where this is going to be received. And put in the vendor. Now this vendor already has assigned to it a fixed asset account. That's the account right here. So this is automatically going to go to the fixed assets when this is received. So I've got this requisition right now, and now let's turn it into a purchase order. So go to Actions and hit Purchase. It'll bring up this dialog screen here. I've got all the elements identified, the vendor, the item, and the requisition number. So I'm going to generate the PO. Let's take a look at that screen. And this is merely an edit list showing me that the purchase order has in fact been created. So now let's take a look at that purchase order. Here's the purchase order we just created. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to receive that in and then turn it into a fixed asset. You can see on this line item here, it's going to link back to that requisition that we just processed. Here's the requisition right there. So let's go through and let's receive this purchase order. We're going to receive it and invoice at the same time. Let's put in a vendor invoice number, and here's the receipt. It's going to go into my fixed asset clearing account as soon as we post this. So let's post it right now. Let's go over to the fixed asset area here, and I've got a purchase that's ready to turn into a fixed asset. This is the one we just received in. So this takes advantage of a couple things in fixed asset. It takes advantage of a new functionality where it automatically assigns an asset ID based on the fixed asset class I have set up for that particular fixed asset clearing account number that I put in the system. So I've got all the information here I need for this new asset. If I wanted to put a location in, I could do that as well. So I'm going to save that. And when I save, it's automatically going to add the depreciation information for this particular asset. I'm going to take a look at that here. Here's the book information on that. And here's the information all set up, ready to go, ready to be depreciated. So let's take a look and let's actually depreciate this asset and see what happens. So let's do the periodic depreciation routine. And what I'm going to do is just set a target date here. Let's make it April 30th. And I'm going to depreciate all my books. I'll put that in and hit depreciate. And it's going to look for all assets that have not yet been depreciated up to April 30th, and it's done. Now let's go back and take a look at our new asset that we just added. and see what it did for the depreciation on that. Here's the asset right here, and we'll go back to that depreciation book. And you can see that it actually depreciated for that one period in time. We can go back and look, and we can see an audit trail for that depreciation entry. This will then be turned into the general ledger and become part of the posted general ledger. So what I showed you was new functionality in GP 2013 R2 with a purchase requisition. I put a purchase requisition in, I turned that into a purchase order, we received that, we turned that into a fixed asset, and then we did the depreciation.